What's poppin', my dudes? Today we're going to be talking about some more Robo tech. I'm going to tell you about 3 techniques, combo breakers used in tag battles. Tag battles should be the standard for competitive play for a whole variety of reasons, but that's beyond the scope of this video, so onto the tech. The first one is called Instant Rebirth, and to understand Instant Rebirth, we're going to have to talk about what is regular rebirth. And so rebirth is a period that happens after you get knocked down. You'll be on the ground for a little while and your opponent can come over and whoop up on you and do some combos, and then eventually you'll stand back up and have some invincibility frame. And that period where you stand up invincible is your rebirth period. Now, instant rebirth, like the name implies, allows you to get up instantly with the same iframes, but you're going to change your robos. And the way you do this is pretty straightforward. You just have to, when you get knocked down, press the Y button to tag to your partner robo, and you immediately switch in instant rebirth. And this is really good because it allows you to punish your opponent for trying to overextend and try and push their combos when not really safe, because you can just instant rebirth and then when they're in lag, immediately shoot them and sort of get a reversal going. That might seem a little bit broken. You might think that, well, the game's just going to become too defensive because you can get out of stuff for free. But really there are limitations on this, and the first one that I want to talk about is the 7-second rule. So whenever you tag to your partner robo, there's a 7-second cooldown period where you're unable to tag again. This not only means that you're vulnerable after you break out of a combo, but for any reason if you want to tag, like let's say you launch out of your Robo Cube and the other Robo you got chilling in the back is going to have a better matchup versus your opponent's starting guy, and you want to switch, well now you're in this 7-second cooldown period, so your opponent will be able to take advantage of you if he gets a knockdown. The other thing is that it's possible to use your combo breaker to get out of a down situation, but it can put you into a possibly worse matchup. It could be a better matchup, just depending, but you could be stuck in a bad matchup for 7 seconds before you get to switch, and then if you do want to switch immediately, that's 7 more seconds that you're vulnerable to attack. Also, not only that, but if you get into a close quarters kind of skirmish with your opponent, and he knocks you down, and you want to tag out, your opponent is going to have the switch advantage here. So if you knock him down in retaliation, then he can just retaliate with his own combo breaker and knock you down again, and then get his full combo off that way. So those are all a few different things to think about when deciding whether or not you actually want to apply this technique. And if you're worried about your opponent combo breaking you, there are a couple things that you can do to counterplay it just a little bit. The main thing is to just not overcommit when he's got the option to instant rebirth. Maybe you try to pressure from mid-range, or maybe you knock your opponent down. You will usually have enough frames before he can instant rebirth to air dash away pretty safely. So while you're not going to get a really juicy follow-up, you can keep yourself from getting punished in that way. A little bit more riskier way, if you want to play around this, is this collision attack mix-up. So this is pretty matchup dependent, and I'm going to tell you about an experience that I had with this recently the other night, which is that I was using the Swift with the Splash Gun, right? And my opponent, shoutouts to Naga KY, follow him on Twitter, his robot in the back had the Hornet Gun. And so what I did was I knocked him down with my Splash Gun, and even though I wasn't quite in range really to connect with my collision attack, I went for this attack, and because he went for his instant rebirth and instant hornets, I was in my invincibility frames whenever he shot me, and my collision attack finished before the end lag of his hornet gun. So I was able to punish with a full combo after that. He didn't have to immediately shoot his hornets. He could have waited and punished me for that. But I mean, again, it's a mix-up. Also, I want to just throw out there that if he had acro canceled hornets, you'd think that he could have got out of there safely and avoid the whole mix-up altogether. But that's not really true, because when he's in invincibility like that, you can't take advantage of the Acrobat Bomb. And now before we get on to the next technique, I just want to throw out this disclaimer that if you're already in Rebirth after you've been knocked down, and you try to tag to your partner robo, this actually will override your Rebirth and get rid of your invincibility. So basically what I'm saying is just don't try and do it too late after the fact, or else you could be punished for that. The second technique that we're going to talk about is called parrying, and This is an exploit of the invincibility frame off of simply tagging to block attacks essentially. Pretty much whenever a hitbox is about to collide with you, if you press the Y button, you can use your very slight amount of invincibility frames to dodge this. And there are two sort of sound effects that'll play. One is the normal sound effect that is like, aha, I dodged your attack, that it does when you're in collision. But also sometimes it'll sound like you're getting hit, but you won't actually. So just know that that's a thing that can happen. And this has similar limits to the previous technique, to where the whole 7-second thing applies, and it could put you in a bad matchup potentially, but this also is harder to pull off and riskier if you fail, because it's possible if you do it too soon, you can switch robos and then get hit, and you could potentially get knocked down and be in your 7-second cooldown and not be able to do anything to avoid a combo. So that's pretty rough. But there is a sort of setup that you can do, make this more consistent if you want to pull it off, which is if you're getting hit with a multi-hit move. We're going to talk about the basic gun because it's an easy to illustrate example. Let's say you get hit by the first hit of the basic gun, right? There are 2 more hits, and so for the last hits, you can actually do your tag and parry and avoid damage from the successive hits. So this allows you to minimize damage just a little bit. So that's a thing. Now, there's one last technique that I'm going to talk about, and this one is different than what we've talked about before, and most of the tech videos in the future. This is different because it's not an exploit of some mechanic or of the physics engine or anything like that. Actually, what it is more of like a glitch, really. And I just found it while I was putting together this video, so it's not as fully explored as some of the other ideas and concepts that I'm going to bring you. But I wanted to go ahead and toss it in here anyway. So what is down canceling? Down canceling is a way to, when you're supposed to get knocked down, just not go down, right? It'll refill your down meter, in some cases all the way, in some cases only a little bit, and it does not change your robo, it does not put your tag on cooldown, but it still is only possible if your tag is active. So the way that you do this is that you have to press Y at a very specific timing. It has to be either when you're about to get knocked down, like the shot that'll knock you down, or when you're already on the ground. When you're in hit lag from getting hit, just the moment the hitbox touches you, then that's when you press Y. There's some really weird quirks to this glitch that I'm going to highlight right now. One is that it works with little raiders, which is kind of busted, really, because their main drawback is the fact that they get knocked down so easily. But fortunately, there are only 4 guns I've been able to find that this is compatible with. If a little raider gets hit with the drill gun, the Gatling gun, or the left or right pulse, they take the first hit, and then if you press Y on the very last finishing blow, that would send them to the ground. That's the way to down cancel these moves, and then they will be able to punish for it, which is a pretty threatening thing. By the way, I also want to point out that whenever you down cancel, you do take the full damage of the move. But anyway, most guns seem to work on other robos in terms of like being able to down cancel them, but some of them have some weird stipulations. The sniper, dragon gun, and shotgun, so far I haven't found any way whatsoever to be able to down cancel when you get hit by one of those. There might be some way that I haven't found yet. There might be other guns that are not down cancelable, but these are the ones that I know of that seem to not be down cancelable at all. Then there's this other category that the bubble and needle gun and possibly some more are in, to where, not needle, eagle gun. The bubble and eagle gun are in this category to where it doesn't work on the hit that knocks you down. You have to be already knocked down and then take the hit from the gun, then that's when you can down cancel it. And I had a note about the Rayfall gun that I needed to have prior damage for that to work. If I shot the Rayfall gun, it sent out 4 bullets to my opponent, and the last one would knock him down. If I tried to down cancel on the last shot, I could never make it work. However, it was quite consistent if I shot a bomb at him, put some prior damage whenever I shot the Rayfall. Or if I did a double shot, the Rayfall has an alternate fire mode, so when you shoot it on the ground, the shots go in the air and then have a delay before they go, and if you shoot from the air, they immediately shoot out. So by doing that, you can stagger it and like get a double shot if you shoot from the ground and in the air, And if I did it in that way, then I was able to down cancel after I think the 5th Rayfall blast. I'm still testing a little bit more guns. Whenever I come up with a complete list of all the rules on how to down cancel, I'll either put out another video or make a chart or do something to make that information known, but that's all I know about down canceling so far. Anyway, yeah, these combo breakers are really useful escape tools for getting out of pressure, and I think it's really interesting. As strong as they are, there's still seems to be a good amount of counterplay to them, and I think that seeing how the metagame evolves around counterplaying these combo breaking options, it'll be really interesting to see what happens. That's about all I have for this video. I've got more custom Robo videos in the works, so go ahead and subscribe if you're looking forward to that. Otherwise, peace.